Hey, Janelle, what are you doing here?
What's
Sneaking
up,
up
Dad?
on me, eh? All
What's
right,
up? What do you have going on in here?
well, I'm working on some pottery, and I get a lot of questions as, well, you make the pot, what happens to it after that? Well, you can see here's a pot I just made recently. It's still wet, wet clay. I don't want to even lift it up because I don't want it to move. It's very heavy because it's all wet, new clay. Then if you come over here, you can see how the various stages of drying. You see how it's getting lighter at the top because it's drying and it's much lighter.
Hmm.
That one's a few days old. This one is more recent. It's still wet and very heavy. You can see how dark it
Whoa,
is.
look at that tall one.
And then you got this massive, this is almost 16 inches tall. And look, but that's nice and light. See the color, how white it is?
Oh yeah.
Because this is just about dry and ready for the kiln. And then I got a few little, look at these little guys over here. You see how, look, see the color? These are just about dry. So I can feel this is a little cold and it's not quite dry. And you can see how
Hmm.
this is dry and it's very lightweight. So it takes time. These take about 3 or 4 days to dry. These big ones take at least a week, sometimes 2 weeks. And generally I'll keep them covered in plastic so they dry slower. Because the question is, why do you want them to dry slower? Well, if you have them dry too fast, they'll crack.
Hmm.
And what good is that? Then you got to start over. And they usually will crack at the top part of it, which is a little thinner. They'll crack on top. So you got to be very careful about it because it takes a lot of time to make one of these guys. You're better off being safe than sorry and allow extra time to dry before you bring it to the kiln. So
Okay.
this is called greenware before it's in the kiln.
Okay, interesting.
Sure. So look at this massive adenium. Oh, oh, that's heavy. That's buried in there. That's really heavy. I actually repotted that. The previous pot it was in, it had cracked it open. So it's in this one. And there's a lot underneath there.
Hmm.
So I have two of these. This is one that's still in there, and I'll probably take this out. I'm making a pot for it right now. So
Okay.
when I get that, but come on over here. Come on over here, Janelle. Let me show you the other one I had that just the other day I took out of that plastic pot and staged it. So look at this
Oh,
baby.
nice.
You see, this is what was visible above the soil, and this was under the soil. So I cleaned that all up, pruned it all back, put it in a,
So how come you didn't cut here?
I just want to leave a few leaves. That's all, just
Okay.
for capture a little sunlight. That's
So
all.
then why do you trim all these back? Because then new growth will come?
Yeah, because I'm hoping that this will then bifurcate. And plus, they were really long and they were just way too big. It was overtaking the view of the caudex. It was too much. So I cut it
What does
back.
bifurcate mean?
This is a single, and when it bifurcates, I might get two, or I
Oh.
could even get three, a trifurcation.
Oh,
So
okay.
sometimes when you do
So
this,
not just new growth, but
new
new
stems. So if you come over
stems.
here, here's another adenium. You can see how I cut this here, and now it's bifurcated into two. See?
Hmm.
They don't always do that. You see, here I only got one.
Okay.
One. Here I'm going to get two. So they don't always
Interesting.
do it, but that's why I cut this. These were like about 4 feet long when I cut them back. So I cut them back. It's just if it's too long, it's too leggy, and it takes away from the beauty of the
So
caudex.
is this just from time, like where this one has so many stems and that one doesn't, and they're longer?
It's just older, bigger. It might have
Hmm.
had more sun.
What happened? What's going on with this one?
Yeah, it's got a lot of sun exposure. It looks burned, but it is kind of, but it's going to survive. It's going to come back. You'll get all new growth there. That's why I cut it all back here. They're going to get a lot of new growth from the center here. From the yeah, so I trimmed it all back, cut it all back, pruned it all back, and uh, and then lifted this all up, and there it is,
Interesting.
staged in one of my very nice tall pots because it has a lot of. There's more caudex down here. And so
Hmm.
probably in about 3 years, I'll lift this up again, probably another 3 or 4 inches. So that's a really cool one. I like how it's intertwined like that.
But so how come you don't cut that or trim it off or anything?
Well, I want to see what will grow. You see, I'm
Oh.
gonna wait. These are the phocus are just starting to wake up now from their slumber, winter slumber. So I have a lot of them obviously, but I only have a few that are waking up. So I'm gonna wait and see the response from this. If I need to, I'll trim it back further.
Okay.
You see? So it's just kind of hit and miss. You never know. You know, you can't over trim unless you cut. You never want to cut it down here. You always want to leave some branching. So this way you
Wait,
have
you never want to cut it where?
you don't want to cut it all the way down at the base. I
Oh.
mean, you can, and some people do, but I never do. I may cut it back to here, but I'm never going to cut it way back here.
Okay.
The only time I ever cut it back was when I had a rat chew it off, and most of it. And if you cut it back really short like that, it takes a long time. It took months before I got some new growth. Because it puts it in kind of a state of shock. So this is going to be okay because this is very healthy. This is nice and firm. The root had a good root system, so I'm not worried about it. If I have to, I'll cut it back. But you guys understand what I'm saying? Do you understand what I'm saying, honey? Okay? It's not rocket science. Come here, honey. Check this one out. This is an Adenium swarzicum. Really nice specimen. Totally asleep, lost all of its leaves. And now look. See the nice red leaves coming out?
Oh, yeah.
I love it. And this is going to have beautiful pinkish red flowers probably in a couple of months or maybe sooner, maybe even sooner. Look, they're all growing. I love it because, you know, adeniums are tricky. Sometimes you do everything and you lose them anyway. So to see the new growth, that's awesome. I'm waiting for this one. It's just starting to wake up now. That one also just starting to. So this is always that critical time to keep your fingers crossed that they wake up out of their long dormancy. So far, so good. Some of the things where I have them is based on the time of year and the light exposure. So right now, these are getting, look, it's early and it's not even 12 o'clock.
Yeah, it looks pretty
see,
cool
it's
like
getting
that,
nice
too.
and sunny over here. So that's good because I want these babies to wake up. Just like over here. See, this is getting sun. So this is why they're starting to wake up now because there's more sunlight. With daylight saving times, we have extra hours of sun, and the sun comes up and stays up, and it's warming up a little bit, so the night temperatures are in the 50s. So usually by the time it gets 60, they're very happy.
So what's this over here then? How come this looks green?
That's an Adenium glocka. The glockas just that's one of the main beautiful characteristics of the glocka. Also the spinosus too, but the glockas, I love this. This is a very old one, and this is not quite waking up yet, but it will. But I love this is a nice size one.
Does it also have bright colored flowers?
No, no, it doesn't. This one I don't think has ever really flowered. The flowers they're kind of small anyway.
Interesting.
Not that important. Just like the
So
Phocea.
is that rare, or is it just that's just?
It's rare to find one that size. Usually you find them and they're like this big, you know, the ones you buy. But that one's been around a long time. I had another one. I hate to say it, that was just as big as that, and actually was even a more beautiful green, and I just lost it. I've had it for about 12 years. I don't know why. Just like, you know, you never know.
Did it rot or what happened?
Yeah, it just I just all of a sudden I noticed the color had a slight change in it. And I'm like, and I hadn't watered it because it's sleeping, and then I felt it and it was just mush. It just I couldn't salvage it. If you get a little fungus or you get some rot on the side here, you can cut that out. But once the whole thing it was a goner.
So did you move some of these?
I did.
Because I feel like these weren't here.
They were not there. Good eye. You got a good eye, honey. You're getting in tune. Yeah, I moved
Didn't
these.
you have, what was it before? Rachmioacme?
I had a Rachmioacme, and I had another.
I got it.
You did get it. And I had another Pentapentio over here. So I moved these Cyphostemma jutais over here because I wanted them to get some of the sun. I got this from a good buddy, Charlie Ball, many years ago, probably about 14 years ago, in this pot.
Oh, yeah?
Either he or his wife, Debbie Ball, made this. I'm not sure, one or the other. I got it in this pot. It's gotten a little bigger, but not much. And I haven't taken it out. It's thriving. It's doing great. I just think it's cool that it could stay in one pot for that long.
Okay.
So
Interesting.
sometimes they don't need to be transplanted for such a long time. And this one, it looks great. I think it's perfect.
So if you did switch the pot and transplant, it would maybe get bigger?
Yeah, maybe, maybe not. You never
Okay.
know. Who knows? Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But it's not unless you put it in the ground. If I took it out and put it in the ground, it would definitely get bigger. But in another pot, a bigger pot, it might in 10
Okay.
years. So
Interesting.
yeah, they're slow growing, but it's cool. I like it's got two branches. That's an old one too. That's from
Okay.
Gary Lyons. I got that from Gary Lyons. That's an Erica pot that
Oh
it's
yeah.
in. Isn't that cool? That's one of my favorite Erica pots.
Very cool, Dad.
Got to have Erica pots. I'm running out of space, honey.
Are you running out of
I
space?
might have to build a greenhouse at your house.
At my house?
Yeah.
Yeah. So these ones are really big.
Oh,
These
that's massive. Yeah,
cyphostemas.
I think we did a little video on that one back there. That's a Rudy Lime one. That's split cyphosema. It's
Yeah,
the
that's cool.
only one in existence.
How do you know?
Oh, I know. Trust me, I know. That's a Rudy original.